All right. Austin, can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, we have you. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We definitely appreciate you spending some time with us in advance of Bristol, and we're going to roll straight to questions. And to take our first question, we're going to go to Jenna Fryer. Go ahead, Jenna.
Hey, Austin. I was talking to Kyle Larson, and I said, Kyle, I said, tell me why you're not going to win, why you're not the guy that's going to win Bristol. And he said, you'd be really surprised. Austin Dillon is a guy who could probably win Bristol. What makes you good at Bristol Dirt?
Well, I think, just dirt racing in general, I've got a little bit of a background in it. And, from Eldora, winning the first truck race there, I'd say that's what he's talking about. And, Kyle, he's good at anything he gets in. And I'm just glad that he mentioned me. That's pretty awesome, really. Makes my day. So now I got to step up and perform. And, last weekend I was able to win that crate race there in the late model. And I think that was a good experience just to see the track. We were pretty dominant in all three of the races we were in. So, I think from the knowledge side of things, I can probably do a pretty good job of getting what we need when it comes down to race time. And 250 laps around a dirt track, you really don't get that many laps on a track. So, in a race on dirt. So it'll be a learning curve, and I think we'll be prepared as anyone for it. That's the one advantage, I think.
Does the weight of the cars play into your favor?
Well, from like sprint cars to late models, I definitely think there's some experience there that helps. He's driving late models now and doing really well. He about won the big race this past weekend in the Super. And so I don't know, there's the weight in those late models, they drive so much different than our cup cars or a truck. A truck, from what I've relied on in the past, the history like that I have in my mind is they are heavier, being heavier, and you don't really drive them, I would say, like a late model or a sprint car. You have to be cautious to the yaw point of the car. So definitely the weight is the biggest thing the difference in how you drive.
Thanks, Austin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Side force too. I'll throw that in there. Side force. Like, our cars don't have the bodies that the late models and the sprint cars have wings. They're just built a lot different to rely on downforce.
Okay. Our next question will come from Matt Weaver. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Austin. Thanks for taking some time today. My question is, let's go back to the first Eldora race. So you win that one, and I remember, like, after the first couple of practice sessions, there were a lot of guys who they didn't prep for the race. They were completely lost. And so you win that race, you go back in 2014. Did you see, I don't know, like an evolution in how much guys took it more seriously or strive to get better at it? And do you think that the Bristol race is going to be completely different because you do see so many guys doing modifieds, late models, whatever, just to get some kind of dirt rep?
Well, yeah, I mean, the competition, the Cup Series is just, all in all, it's a higher level. I think it's the highest form of motorsports, the best drivers in the world, and all of them are doing their job preparation-wise off the track, running other cars that they're not comfortable running in, just to get on dirt and understand what the transition of the track is. And there's a lot of smart dirt crew chiefs out there also that people are probably bringing in, trying to understand how they can make their cars drive better on dirt. But, the biggest difference from 2014, I just stepped in another car, and the difference, another truck, and the difference between the truck we took the first time and the second time, there was a difference, and we weren't ever able to really find that feel that we had the first race around. So going this time, I think there's some guys, obviously, with less dirt experience, they're going to be surprised. It's just an experience thing. But there's so many good race car drivers in the Cup level that have dirt experience or some sort of dirt experience that they'll be able to lean on. And not many of the guys at this point at the Cup level, maybe a couple that have not ever been on dirt. I think everybody has some form of dirt racing experience at this point.
And just to follow up on Bristol, one thing that I've heard consistently enough is that this could become, once the track takes enough rubber, it might be like a slower version of what Bristol used to be when it was kind of bottom feeding, bump and run. Is that kind of fair to say?
I think there's definitely going to be a point where there's a dominant line that everybody's going to be fighting for. The one thing, though, that I noticed at the track last weekend that you can kind of move around momentum-wise to find speed, which is nice. That's what's great about dirt racing. And as the track goes through transitions, it's always going to change. There might be a section in the race where, yes, you have. Sorry, I got muted there. What I was saying was there might be a point in the race where ultimately you have to be on the bottom and you'll be fighting for it. But the great thing about dirt racing, the track is always changing. So it'll go through so many transitions throughout the race that that's what's cool about dirt racing. And you have to be comfortable with change because it changes throughout the race. And to be good at it, you got to just search constantly. Even when you're the leader's always kind of a moving target. He has to be comfortable. He can't just get in a line and think that line's going to win in the race, because after 50 laps, I mean, we're going 250 laps on a dirt track. After 25, the dirt track changes drastically with a lot of cars out on it. So that's the great thing about it. And it'll go through so many transitions, and the team that is willing to change and move will be the best by the end of it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, our next question will come from Claire B. Lane. Go ahead, Claire.
Thank you. Can you talk about the importance of the practice session at Bristol? And, you guys haven't had a lot of practice, and that is certainly going to be a unique environment and no one's really knowing what to expect. And then the heat races. How do you look at the practice and the heat races?
Yeah, it'd be nice to have some practice to just test and tune. I think the difference between an asphalt track and a dirt track where we have so many notes on things that we don't do. A dirt track where you can go to it with an open mindset and do things that you wouldn't normally do to find speed. And that's what's going to be fun for all the crew chiefs, car chiefs, mechanics out there to really do things opposite. The thought process has to be so open-minded when we get there to the track. And not only are you worrying about the setup, but you're worried about the car. You make sure that the heights are right. You're not rolling the nose under. There's a lot of things that we do at a dirt track to just make the car go around the track. And then it might not always be like, hey, we need just a little more wedge to be perfect. It might be, we need more clearance so I don't hit the track right here and get tight. So, yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff about the practice. The heat races, they'll be challenging. Short amount of time, and you want to get as many passing points as you can. Starting position matters at any type of racing level. The draw, I don't know how that all, I haven't really looked into how that's going to go down or where we start for the heat races yet, but I think the whole process is going to be fun. And I wouldn't mind. I was hoping we would go off of like a regular race weekend and just go off of the past race, because we have a pretty good starting position after our run at Atlanta this past weekend. And I think starting up front would be really good for us. I mean, I'm not really worried about where we start in the dirt race, because I feel like if you do your job in practice, that you should be able to move forward through the race. So I watched the stock car race, and I felt like stock car race is probably one of the best races this past week when I was there at the Dirt Car Nationals. And that is what I'm hoping that you guys get to see from the cup level. And all the guys that are prepping the track, I've been in touch with some of those people and trying to just give feedback to give it the best show we can put on for all the fans out there. And I think they're prepared. I think the knowledge they gained from the Dirt Car Nationals last week will really go a long way when it comes down to it, of what you see this coming week.
And then isn't that hit or miss then if people are trying stuff and they get to do more things? Aren't we talking about hit or miss on the practice when it comes to the race and the qualifying, kind of?
For sure. I mean, there's definitely going to be some guys that hit it or miss it and go forward and have to make some drastic changes to try and get the car better. But I think that the biggest thing you'll see when it comes to guys movers or guys that are falling back is the transition with the track is going to be the same. When somebody's car is too tight at the beginning, they might be really good at the end. somebody might be really fast at the beginning and really slow at the end. So you'll go through those transitions throughout the race to somebody that doesn't look good at the beginning. You might just stay on the lead lap that all of a sudden just comes forward.
Thanks and good luck. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to squeeze in one additional question, and we'll go with Chris Estrada. Go ahead, Chris.
Thank you for joining us today, Austin. Just going a bit off Jenna's question, Kyle Larson says that you're a favorite, but it seems going into this race, a lot of folks outside the garage have settled on him and Christopher Bell as the two big favorites. With that in mind, do you feel like you're getting shortchanged in that conversation, that you should be considered that third big favorite, or are you content with playing dark horse going into this week?
I feel like I'm playing that role a lot, so it's a good role to be in, and I like the spoiler side of it, but it does mean a lot to me that Kyle said that. I really respect his opinion on a lot of things, and his talent level. Everybody talks about it in the media center. It is, he's a very talented driver. So for him to throw me in there means a lot, and drives me to want to get after it even more this weekend than I already do.
If I could just do a quick follow-up, obviously the high banks on this Bristol dirt configuration stands out, but what are some other parts of this track that strike you as either very similar or very different from dirt tracks you've raced in the past?
Well, I think the dirt itself is interesting. They chose the type of dirt they chose to lay down on Bristol is not a dirt that you see in the Midwest. It's a sandy dirt. When you really get into the dirt track racing world, you start talking about the type of dirt that you're racing on, and certain dirt puts on better races than the other, and certain dirt goes through different transitions than the other. The good thing is that dirt, I feel like, came from a track that I kind of grew up racing around, and I kind of know the transitions and what it takes, I think, to create speed throughout the transitions that it's going to go through. So if anything, maybe that helps me. But it's not a dirt that I don't believe you're going to see a cushion build. It doesn't do that. This stuff kind of creates a fluff, and it gets up there, and you can gain grip because it might be wet up there for a while, but it's not something that you can use as a curb to catch you. Which is, I think, it's just different, and I'm glad it came from around here because I feel like I've ran on it a lot and know when it has grip and when it doesn't.
Thank you.
All right, Austin, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us before this weekend, and we wish you the best of luck in Bristol.
Thanks.